Around the world this morning, prayers for Pope Francis. Outside the hospital in Rome, the hopes of many expressed in candles, balloons, and messages. At New York St. Patrick's Cathedral, Cardinal Timothy Dolan saying out loud what few have been willing to say.
As our Holy Father, Pope Francis, is in very, very fragile health and probably close to death.
Dolan did not say where he got his information, but later told reporters he hoped Francis would recover. In Asia's East Timor, where the Pope visited last September, the faithful pray at a cardboard cutout of the pontiff, his face on the obelisk of his hometown Buenos Aires, where he was the cardinal. Francis, who never let age or health issues slow him down, is now well into his second week at Gemelli Hospital. With chronic lung disease dating back to when he lost part of a lung as a young man, the Pope's situation is described as complex by the Vatican. He had a prolonged respiratory crisis Saturday, which required supplemental oxygen, then blood transfusions because of a low platelet count associated with anemia. Now, along with double pneumonia, he is dealing with initial mild kidney failure. At St. Peter's Square, the Pope's health is top of mind for cousins Amy Etten and Kathy Gregory.
Well, we've been praying for his health. We do hope he recovers, and every time we walk into a church, that's what we're praying for.
I love this Pope. I feel like he's really moved the church forward.
Michigan's Joe Matrice prayed for the Pope at Mass.
He's a very good man. He has a good heart.
So the Pope's been hospitalized for about 10 days now, since Valentine's Day. So the business of the Vatican, how does that go on, Ann?
Yeah, Savannah, it continues. Yesterday, they ordained some new deacons here at St. Peter's, and then tonight, they are going to take time to pray for the Pope's health. They're going to start a nightly rosary in the square, and it will be led by the Cardinals of Rome. Savannah?
All right, Ann Thompson in Rome for us. Thank you.
All right, let us bring in NBC News medical contributor Dr. Natalie Azar now to walk us through just how it sounds serious. 10 days in the hospital. He's 88 years old. Supplemental oxygen he's receiving. Pneumonia in both lungs. Is it as bad as it sounds?
I would just say sort of the big picture take home is that I think his prognosis is definitely guarded right now. As you know, he's being treated for pneumonia. A couple of very important things happened over the weekend. One was that he had what they termed a respiratory crisis that required the use of something called high flow oxygen. That's when you were administered oxygen via nasal cannula. So he's not intubated. He doesn't have a tube in the lung, but it's giving you oxygen at a high pressure, which reduces the work of breathing, which really suggests that pneumonia was really taking a toll on his ability to breathe comfortably. And he also had a lot of lab things happen. He became anemic that required a transfusion. He has some mild what's called renal insufficiency. Now, all of these things, which is a decline in kidney function, all of these things can be seen in the setting of critical illness. But we want to see that the trends are going to start going in the right direction, that his oxygen requirements will become less and that he will no longer, for example, require the high flow and that he starts to maybe be able to breathe on his own.
He's vulnerable, of course, because he's of a certain age.
Exactly.
But he also has is it down to one lung, or he had a lung operation as a young man because of pleurisy?
Right. So he actually comes to the situation already with some compromised lung function. He did have part of his lung removed as a young adult because of a severe infection, and he has two underlying lung conditions, asthma as well as something called bronchiectasis. So he already has a susceptibility to infection. So when you get something like this on top of already being slightly compromised, I don't know that he's going to bounce back completely to baseline, but he absolutely can turn the corner and get better. But I would say right now, again, prognosis is guarded because things can go quickly in one direction or the other at this point. So. Exactly.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Natalie.
Hey, thanks for watching. And don't forget, you can catch the Today Show every morning on NBC or take Today when you're on the go. Just follow the Today podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen.